Well, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Here we are again. Araya Onra coming to you live and for the love of dragons. And we've got some fun stuff up today. I had another great question last week that I want to just drop some insights in. And I promised last week a mini dragon reading, and I had someone who commented that they thought that would be great. So I'm going to be doing a mini dragon reading for Deborah, and I'll make sure and tag her if she's not on, but I will wait a couple minutes here and see if she comes on. And yeah, Deborah, if you are there from last week and back again, let me know, because you're going to get that mini dragon reading today. Hello, Nancy. And that reminds me, I'm going to just let everyone know we start book club this week. And if you're not aware of what the Dragon Within book club is, it's really a misnomer, because we talk about the book if people have questions about it. But different than a normal book club, we don't read a certain amount and discuss that every week, because it's a guidebook. It's how to work with the dragons, a little bit of their history, what other aspects are going on with them. So we end up in discussions to answer everybody's questions that comes in and joins for the 6 weeks of everything and anything to do with dragons. Typically a lot about your ascension journey, metaphysics, your spiritual pathway, experiences that are happening. It's a free-for-all that you can bring in, and inevitably everything ties back to the dragons somehow. So that's where I come in to help bring those explanations in, bring that clarity. We do have, I open into a massive reading space, so we get a lot of new insights that come, as well as a guided meditation each week. And I only have one spot left. I only allow 10 people in each round. We start this Thursday, the 14th of October. We're going to go from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 6 weeks in a row, so that we're done before Thanksgiving, before the holidays. It won't interfere. And if you have a schedule that is a challenge to meet those hours, maybe you can come one of the hours but not two, or there's a few weeks you have to miss. It's not a big deal. The classes are recorded. You get to download and keep them so that you can listen to the meditations and the discussions, because there's some stuff that you'll listen to again 5-6 months later, or a year later, 2 years later, that you weren't ready to receive this time around, but that will kick in and you'll be like, oh, I didn't even hear that. I didn't even understand that before. Or, wow, that must have skipped over me. I don't even really remember her saying that. And that's usually how this stuff works. Like even the book, The Dragon Within, you can read it multiple times and get something different each time, because you're further along on your journey. You're ready to receive more, to read between the lines and get that energy. So all the tools that I put out have a lot of energetic download. I'm excited about book club and about all the other tools. I will tell a short story here. I remember reading a book. I want to say it was one of Barbara Marchiniak's from the Pleiades, and I was so confused, because at the end of the book there were like 15 blank pages, and to me that was like a publisher error. What is that? Why do they have 15 blank pages at the back of the book, when, cost of paper, cost of printing, all that stuff? What is that about? And something in me said, just start touching the page. And so I started on the first blank page and I put my hand on it, and I realized I was receiving a transmission. There was a direct transmission happening. So I did it through all 15 pages, and it was amazing how much energy flowed into me from that I feel like gave me a lot more insights. So I know that happens in the kind of work that I do, whether it's the Oracle deck, whether it's a plushie or a piece of art or a piece of jewelry. I've got my AndaRa pendant on today, this incredible blue that called me. And literally when I was holding it, when it came out of the box, I didn't know it was for me. I thought I was getting the purple one. And I lifted this one up and my hand started zinging. I went, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to have this one. I wanted the purple one. But no, this blue is right. It's me, and it's really unfolded a lot of great stuff. So that's the intention behind everything that I offer, whether it's a book, a guided meditation, an online course, the book club, one of the products in the lair. Everything comes out with a massive heartfelt transmission for transformation on your journey to expand you to your next level. So book club, I've got one space left. If you want it, or you're curious about it, email me today, araya@dragonwithin.com. I will put the link for it in the description after I post the video, so that can get you to registration. It's also listed in the group for the Love of Dragons. We'd love to have you if you know that you're meant to be in, because I know typically there's a heart call and somebody will get that last spot. So let's dive in. Let me just feel if I want to do... I'm going to give Denise... or Deborah, excuse me, a little bit more time to come on in case she's remembering and aware she's going to get a mini dragon reading today. So I'm going to touch on the question first. So somebody had commented on one of my YouTube videos, and I do read all the comments on all the videos, whether it's in here or on my YouTube channel, because all these go to the YouTube channel after I post them. I make sure that they're in both places because it's easy to search on the YouTube channel. There's a whole dragon playlist. Invoke Healing International is how you find it. But then there's over 100 and some videos from weekly discussions on dragon. You can learn a lot for free just by perusing the topics and letting your heart lead and go, oh, I need to watch that one right now. Or, do a search on dragon keepers or dragon riders or dragon hearts, and you'll come up with multiple videos of answering your questions. So I had a question last week on a comment on a YouTube video, and they were asking if I had any insights on the Draco constellation. So this is an interesting question because everyone assumes, or they know about dragons. They know, oh, Draco, that's the dragon constellation, right? It's in the shape of a dragon. So for me, when I sit with the constellation of Draco, I'll be totally honest that I've never had anything come forward energetically about it being deeply connected to the dragons. So starting with the fact that all of the constellations, all of the grids of the universe are in some way connected because the dragons are the ones holding this universe. They're holding all the grid points, all the vertices between all the axes. They were the volunteers that said, all right, this needs to be created. I'll be responsible for this part. And so they've been holding it all this time. In that way, there are dragons connected to everything, all the constellations. But as far as their design, how they are drawn out in the sky, what that means, I've never associated direct dragon energy with the Draco constellation. And for me, and this might just be my own filters as a channel, because every channel is only as good as their own woundings or filters or whatever systems of belief they have. I know that I've released so many to try and be the clearest channel I can. But I do have memory and knowledge about the Draco as a species, and that they are part of the reptilian species, that they are part of the hijacking of the system, of everything that, for me, in experiences as dragon form, I know I've shared many times that I had to break through finally to be able to even speak publicly like this, outside of just writing the book and doing one-on-ones, to make it very public that I am a dragon, that the dragons are here to help, that they're about healing and about the ascension process, that I have conscious memory of actually being shackled and watching all of my legions be tortured or enslaved or killed by the reptilian species that are part of that Draco system, and many of the dragons kidnapped and taken to those places to work in the mines, to go through horrendous suffering. And many of the people that I work with remember the Orion battles. They have a lot of memory of those events unfolding and places, being stuck in places like that, or being chained, or being made to work endlessly until their physical body as a dragon in that incarnation died. So for me, the Draco system or the Draco constellation is either a memory point, like a record bank, because I do feel like most of the constellation system or names were not necessarily created from the beings of light that translate and hold this. I feel like even within the zodiac, there's a limitation within it, where Vedic astrology goes to the galactic cycles and calendars and constellations, and that it's much more accurate. So for me, and this is just my take, you're welcome to take anything I say and sit with it, see if it ingests or integrates or not, and throw it out the window if it doesn't resonate for you. But for me, the Draco constellation is a name that was given in a system to keep holding that energy, because names and energetics are very important, as are geometries and geometrics, and that with the representation of that, to me, it holds a dense energy framework that is meant to be part of that system that has shut down or hijacked the original timelines of ascension and moving into light. So part of that hijacking is that energy. And so for me, everything associated with Draco is part of that, and part of that memory bank, and it is part of the release. It's not something we judge and shove away. It's part of the system, but in incorporating and integrating it all in, recognizing it for what it is, embracing it, and allowing the light to maybe shift it back into a different form, to bring it up to a different level of vibration, if that's possible. And again, that's just my take on it, but I don't have any association with dragons being either part of the Draco or, and it's odd because Draco is seen as dragon, but I think that was intentionally done to hold a negative framework around the beings that were actually the original Draco reptilians. I don't connect with them as a dragon species. They are reptilian. The dragons are not. The dragons are an avian species, so they are more like the dinosaurs in that their bones, their structure, everything is more like the bird lines, the avian lines, which has been proven and is in the Natural Museum of History about that with the dinosaurs. So your ruby dragon brought you to a place where I could heal the wounds with the dark forces. Let's see if I can read the top of that. So synchronistic. So Michelle's saying that's so synchronistic. An hour ago, the ruby dragon brought me to a place where I could heal the wars with the dark forces. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of that going on right now. So you can see, interestingly, I try to feel the dragon energy of the day and what I want present in the sphere of the live. And it was a very interesting combination today. So here's the ruby for you there, Michelle and Jade. So these guys are holding like the water and the fire lineages, which is a blend and a merge on the elemental level. I also really strongly felt the black and white dragons still in a dance of merge, that level of union. We're moving into a real transformation period right now. So I felt their presence really strongly, and this was carrying over from something that my Dragon Hearts did yesterday as an activation connected with the Moai on Easter Island, and an actual release of those energies from the planet. They've been in service as guardians, gatekeepers, and record keepers, and their service is now complete, so they are able to actually release and move on to a different level of service. And then this guy, the Carnelian, holds the deep earth, which is a part of the synthesis process down and through into the completion. So also just looking out my window, I've got these beautiful fall colors, and this one was just drawing me, holding the template of that season that we're moving into. We're in the, I feel like crosshairs is a word. I don't know why. We're in the in-between zone between summer and winter. We're in the in-between zone of the merge taking place, and this tidal wave of light that is about to influx over the planet here. I'm picking up as of November 1st, but feeling these big shifts happening. So that was my insights about the Draco constellation. And you know, anyone that has different and wants to share that so I can sit with that, feel free to put it in the comments. That's just my take and my memory banks, but definitely coming through my filters. So let's move into a mini dragon reading. These are always super fun. So Deborah was on last week, and she had commented how nice it would be to receive one. So I'm going to sit with her energy, and I do typically just to focus and not have so much visually in front of me. When I get started into a reading, I like to close my eyes and connect in, and I'm just going to share what I'm picking up for her. And what's interesting about this is everybody else will actually probably get a hit or something here, so it's fun for everybody to be part of these. So for Deborah, I'm picking up two distinct dragon guides walking with you right now, a yellow and an orange. That may be where I'm picking up the Carnelian blend of energies of the fall colors that were coming into the sphere today, and the ruby coming in with Michelle. The yellow and the orange coming in, they are working on your power center, on moving you into an ability to see clearly. So that's this bright yellow dragon is bringing the sun and bringing the light in, bringing the power of the sun and the power that the sun has to illuminate, bringing a lot more truth into your sphere, making things both palatable and in plain sight. That it's not always easy to see truth, it's not always easy to accept or swallow the truth, and that by making it palatable, it's going to be presented in a way that you can gain perspective and not push it away or resist it, but allow it'll be palatable in a way that okay, gentle steps, baby steps. I can see that. I can recognize that. I can receive that. And in the reception of truth is when we gain much higher perspective and start to step into a bigger part of our journey where we then can be raised into new vibrational levels, into new levels of truth. And so this is what this beautiful yellow dragon is coming in to do. The orange is as well, but the yellow dragon is focused on the truth, whereas the orange is resonant with the burning flame underneath it, the burning flame that is the power to step forward and see why you've resisted your truth, why you are hesitant to stand in it, why you would tend to defer or allow someone else's opinion to override yours, to allow someone else's agenda to be what the plan is, whether it's making plans for dinner or a big project at work that takes collaboration, that your voice tends to get lost because you allow to defer, where your voice is very important, your voice and the truth that you can speak through it, because you are aligning to your soul, and the soul has a lot more knowing that you have a lot to share. And so this orange dragon is coming in to work with that, to help access and heal the power wounds that keep you from voicing that and keep you in a place of deferment. So knowing that both perspective and truth and this ability to step forward and go, all right, I see this truth, I see why I'm doing this, and now I can shift that, and I have the power within me with the assistance of these two to actually go, actually, you know, I'd like to have a voice here. I'd like to have my input really listened to here because I have something to say. So that's a really powerful place to be. And hello, Paul. Nice to see a new face here. We will see if I have time. I will do that. Let me just go back up. There's, all right. Sorry, I have to scroll up with my finger and it goes right on the camera. Let me just see if there's names with those dragons that you can work directly with, Deborah. They're both coming from the Sun Realms, so you have a connection to the Sun Realms. The orange one is Shira. I'm just going to jot that down in case you want to ask me again about that later. And the other is Na. Just simply Na. She's keeping it simple, the yellow one. They are both female. So there's an interesting piece about that, Deborah, that both of your guides right now are female dragons, or they're presenting in their female aspect because of a need to be embraced by the feminine to receive what they have to share. And so, well, thank you, Nancy. I don't know if you know Deborah, but I'm glad you feel it's accurate. That there's a need stepping into your power and no longer deferring and being able to see a higher perspective of truth. You need to hear that from the feminine for whatever reason, and that's going to be your next level of growth, of healing those masculine woundings that have sort of put that in play for you. All right, so I'm going to do one more, and I saw Paul, who is a newbie to the group. Really excited to see you. So Paul Seraphin. All right, let's go and see who is there with you and do a little mini dragon reading. And of course, if you don't have to, but if you end up wanting either Deborah or Paul or anyone that's listening, I do 20-minute dragon readings, which are a little more extensive. They go a little bit more in detail. And they're on the booking calendar. So the booking calendar is through either homepage of my invokehealing.com or dragonwithin.com. And if you don't see an opening in the first 3 weeks, don't stress out. I'm not booked out for the whole year, but I only go 3 weeks out on my calendar for personal reasons. It's just easier to maintain some semblance of balance with it and slide people in if there's, not openings for an extended time. But typically in the next 3 weeks, if you check back every few days, you'll find something. All right, so Paul Seraphin. So you do have multiple dragons around you. And I'm just going to tune in the largest presence, I would say, so the biggest energy that's coming forward at first. And a lot of times this happens where they are sort of lined up. They're holding a space of a specific energy. So I feel like there's like 7 or 8 in the background in your field, but they're holding a framework of energy for a path of growth for you. And what happens is there will be one that steps forward who's working with you directly right now, and they're in the forefront. They're like front and center. Here I am. You're seeing me the biggest because I'm coming forward. And the others are waiting in the wings. That means they're holding the resonance, but they are also waiting until this first one, which I'll describe to you and give you a way to communicate with him. They're waiting for this first one to be done with his transition period with you, of the work that you're doing directly with him, and then he will either circle around and just maintain space, or he'll move on and do something else. And then the next one or two can step forward, and sometimes they do work in tandem, like is happening with Deborah. But let's see, this first one is strongly teal, and this teal presence, I feel an affinity with that energy because I'm a water dragon and have a lot of teal and blues in my field constantly. He's definitely showing in his male aspect. He's walking behind your right shoulder, which is your masculine side. He is quite large. He is not serpentine in form like many of the water dragon families are. So let me see if he is actually water dragon. So he's telling me that he's a blend. He's like a if you might consider like a crossbreed or a half resonance between a sapphire and a water dragon. So they are part of the same lineage. They are part of the love lineage. And heart issues, working on the heart, opening the heart. So let me see. He's working from the masculine side, and he is showing his masculine side. And he's showing, the message that he's giving right now is about the strength of love and the strength. So be clear, Paul, too, that this is a dragon guide that's with you right now. It's not you if you are dragon. I'm not being shown that right now. What I'm seeing is your team that's working around you right now. So you do have a hybrid right now with you. Hybrid isn't, because they're the same species, even though they're sapphire and water, they're in the same lineage. So not quite a hybrid, more like a cross section of energies, if that makes sense, because the difference between water and sapphire is their octave or their vibration and how it represents. So it's like a half step between those two. And what he's saying is the power of love, the strength of love, the incredible amount that you can embrace and hold that you haven't been stepping fully into, that there's a real, and I don't know if you have a family or a deep collection of friends, there's something about your community, which could be direct family, like wife and kids. It could be just your circle of friends, if you're not at that stage of life yet. But it's like a direct community that you're around, and you have a capacity to really hold a powerful embrace around them. And he's wanting to help you step up the game of how do I really expound how much I know I can love, how much I know I can embrace. And I'm getting chills on this, so this is a big message for you, Paul, of how big you can make that. And the dragons coming in to work with us are about amplifying what we have naturally. So if you are connected to this guy, he's water dragon lineage, which is about that love octave, and you haven't woken up all those gifts yet, or you haven't really accepted or allowed that awareness to come in yet, he's here to do that with you. He's here to show you how big your heart can be, because you already know you have a big heart, but you don't know the depths of it yet. You don't know, like, wow, it can go 1,000-fold from where you're at, and to not be afraid of stepping into that much. And for some reason, sometimes the dragons will step in and ask me to share a little story from my own history, because it resonates for that person, that it will have a similar, like there's an experience like that coming down the pike for you. So back in 2005, I was at an activation in Ireland, and I was already doing energy healing work. The dragons were just starting to come in, and I was at an event with like 60 people. And one of them was having a breakdown moment energetically. They were having a lot of emotional stuff, and a big opening happening for them. And the woman who was in charge turned to me. She like scanned, and she knew energetically, you get behind him and stand behind him and just hold space. And it was the first time that I had a tangible experience of my energy body here, and I wasn't even like aware I was a dragon yet. I just was me. Here I was, Araya, and I was standing behind this person, and typically you hold as big of a space as you can. And all of a sudden I felt my energy body go up to about 40 feet tall. And I was literally 40 feet tall, holding like a guardian behind this person. Nobody's energy, positive, negative, or otherwise, was getting anywhere near this person while they went through the release of the trauma that was unfolding, and what was needing to move out so that more light could move in, essentially, is what was going on. So there's a tie-in because my whole body's tingling on this, Paul. So I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad that you are here to receive this message, because this is definitely like timely for you. So I'm holding this space. I'm like 40 feet tall, and I'm literally having my own epiphanies of what energy can be like, how we can sense it, how big we are as beings. And that was just a tiny snippet of introduction to then down the road, years later, stepping into the knowing of my dragon aspect. It's much bigger than that. And that was a powerful place for me to step into. And so there's something unfolding for you that this dragon wants to move you into, to know the actual power of love and the size of it, the strength of love that you have within you to carry. So that is an incredibly, yes, beautiful gift for you to unfold into. And let me see, I feel like he has a name or a mantra that he can give you right now to connect directly with him. So it's very unusual. I'm just sticking with it for a minute to make sure that's right. So what I'm hearing is Miedu. Miedu. And definitely an unusual name for dragons or beings, but Miedu. And in repeating that and sitting and opening your heart to meditate directly with him is where you'll start sensing or feeling his presence. And he's indicating you have a way. I don't know if you already know how to do this. You must, because he's saying you know how to ask yes or no questions. So whether you're using a stone like, what is it, Thurum from Paulo Coelho's Alchemist, like the boy used, he had stones in his pocket. One goes hot, one goes cold to get yes or no answers, or a dowsing pendulum, or a pendulum or a rod, something to get a yes-no answer. Or if you have two cards, two papers, yes, no, and you turn, there you go, pendulum. He's saying use the yes-no questions to ask him direct questions so that you can have a direct conversation until the rest of your gifts open up. But he's working on that strength of love for you. So Miedu, really beautiful, really powerful. I'm excited that you showed up, Paul. I'm excited that you asked for one, because I feel like that was not just a message for you. I mean, that was directly your reading. And when he's done, there will be a lineup. There's other dragons in your field, so you have a very deep connection with the dragons. You will probably at some point wake up to the fact that you are a dragon. And the overall, what I'm being shown right now is the strength of love, and the aspect of recognizing how big we are energetically, of how big you can expand yourself when you move into the knowing and the remembrance of that, is a tool that many that are going to listen to this, and whether they're watching right now or get it on the replay or somebody shares it with them, whatever happens, that there's going to be multiple people triggered by that capacity of how big they can make themselves, because that's going to make a difference in their journey. So thank you for requesting the reading. I'm glad it matched up today. Perfect synchronicity. And everybody else, there's, I will do these periodically. I haven't done one in a long time, so they are super fun. But if you're dying to have one, or know that you need a deeper read into like other stuff going on, my full healing sessions are 75 minutes, and they can be dragon reading, but also psychic surgery, healing work, energy movement, life coaching. It comes in with like basically me connecting with your higher self and guides to let the table unfold of what kind of information you need, what you're working on right now, what your blocks are to get you to that next place on your journey. So wishing everybody a beautiful week. I know here in the high deserts of the Sierra Mountains, I'm in Reno, Nevada, here in the high desert, we are trying to get cold this week. So I've got a turtleneck on, and we had a little snow flurries yesterday morning. Not quite ready for it, but allowing it to be there and allowing myself to just acclimate and get used to the colder weather. So wishing you beautiful spaces wherever you are. I will see you guys next Tuesday. And if you have questions, send them in or join into the book club. Like I said, I have one space left and we'd love for somebody to fill it. I feel like it's going to be a complete group and I leave that out to you guys. All right. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.